of the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission. We are physically here in Hilo right now. And I just want to do a shout out real quick in case people didn't know that we are currently in National Correctional Staff Week. Yeah, appreciation. Yeah, and so just want to shout out to all the correctional staff who may be online or maybe hearing this later. And we appreciate you and all that you do within our facilities, and for the leadership in DCR and all of your folks staff as well. Hopefully you folks will feel the appreciation that the community has for the work that you do and for the reform that we are advocating for at this time. I was happy to you folks know I'm still facilitating the Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, and I treated my staff to a prime rib lunch this Monday. And for those of you who have all these budget issues in your head right now, I just want to say it's good to be a ranch. That we did, it was our cattle that we fed them with. So I'm very appreciative of my staff and all the work that they do with the children. And so I just wanted to show my appreciation for them as well as for the rest of the correctional staff throughout the state. So I'll call this meeting to order on May 10th. It's 9 o'clock a.m. Do a real quick roll call. Martha?
Present.
Mike?
Present, thank you.
Ronald? Present. And then Mark Patterson. 4 of us are here, and Judge Browning is on off island at this particular point, out of state, and won't be joining us today. So we have 4 of the commissioners who are present. Also, one more announcement I want to make. We want to welcome the arrival of the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission's first baby. Christian Johnson is on maternity leave, and she gave birth May 3rd to a baby boy. Wow. Yeah. And he like his mother, he's very active, so he came a little early. You know, he doesn't want to sit and just wait. He wants to get things done right away. So we ask for your prayers and your thoughts to Christian. You can email her, but I've told her not to answer emails. Okay. Young Cameron is in the NICU at this time, you know, because he did come early, but he's doing well. Okay, so Christian Johnson will be on maternity leave for the next 3 months, and Kara here will be replacing her in her duties for us at this time. So we're very happy that we have an addition to the board at this time. And please share that information out there. You know, it's been a crazy legislative session. And if you guys understand, and not too many people knew that she was pregnant, but she was fighting for attacks against her salary. She was fighting for her job, for the budget of the commission. And, you know, we were successful in a lot of those things. And to put that kind of stress on her in her last 2 trimesters is an incredible sense of will on her part, and her passion for helping Hawaii in our advocacy for correctional reform. So just want to make that announcement real quick. Thank you, everybody, for rejoicing on that for me and for her as well, and her husband, Jeff. Yeah. Hey. Now, Commissioner, they've taken a look at the minutes for March 21st, 2024 meeting.
Desmond, how may I open up with bullying?
I'll ask the community if you would be okay with opening, being we are in Hilo, yes.
Au he ai na okolani e maliu mai ni e leo puli e leo a he leo o mai kai no ohi e malama mai mako a palekana a puka I ke ao malama a puka a mama uanu a mahalo pio.
Okay, cool.
I would take a motion to receive the minutes.
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved by Mike Town and seconded by Martha that we accept the minutes as presented for the March 21st, 2024 Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion passed. Ladies and gentlemen, our public testimony is item 4 on the agenda that you folks may have with you or it's online at this particular point in time. I'm going to ask that we remember that at this particular agenda, there'll be 2 public testimonies, one in the beginning and one at the end. The one in the beginning, we're asking that you folks really look at the agenda and whatever comments you have be specific to the agenda items. And then the testimony after the meeting can be more generalized. Okay, that way it helps us with the flow and the importance of what we need to talk about in terms of the agenda. So with that being said, we have a chair up here. If you mind coming up so we can put you and everyone on the Zoom land can see. We're going to start with live and then we'll go online. Any testimonies at this time? Yeah, you just come and introduce yourself.
Is that the one you brought the same one I got?
Yeah, you swear in.
No, do you have the list of the agenda?
I
items?
don't have the agenda item, but it does concern what I have to share. Was at the last meeting. Oh, first of all, my name is Gene Tamashiro. I'm a Hawaiian, where do I look at?
Right there.
Over there. Hi, you guys. I'm Gene Tamashiro. I'm a Hawaiian national in full process of abjuration and renunciation respectfully from the occupying corporation. And I'm here very briefly to just remind folks where we all woke up this morning and the true law, God's, the creator, Keakua's natural law is the foundation of our country, sanctified, codified Declaration of Rights, 1839. We are looking forward to working with honest Americans who know where we all woke up this morning and Hawaii's true status, which is, and I've been doing this for over 10 years, as many others have. Right now, it's 131 years of US corporate military occupation, and that's a fact. There is no treaty of annexation, so we are where we are, and I want to remind people that going forward, that it's very, very important that we do so in respect of and the knowledge that it is an occupation and the occupying power, and we were all born into this heva. But there is a way and a pathway that we can resolve this, that we can untangle this heva intelligently, effectively, and of course, with aloha. So I just wanted to reach out to everybody and thank everyone who has joined us and who continues to stand strong in the restoration of Pono in Hawaii. I did bring a few bits of information from Hawaii Transitional Governance, and we are a temporary governing transition, recognizing and operating in the laws of occupation, of course, recognizing our Hawaiian Kingdom Constitution, and for those honest Americans who have pledged an oath, especially in their efforts to restore the constitutional republic. So I'm here for any questions, if anyone has questions.
We're looking at the agenda items at this time.
Yeah, well, this is a big agenda because people need to know.
I understand, sir.
Where we all
I
woke up,
know
yeah,
that
this
there's a
one.
part in the after the meeting that you can share those things.
Unfortunately, I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity to share what I had to say. Because right now I'm going to go to Honoapo where they are having Uncle Abel's celebration of life. I will leave this for you guys if my contact information is there. If anything I've said is actually not true, let us know because we want to correct all the unlawful heva that, is constantly being presumed. I do believe a piece of the budget, because the budget has been approved, I believe a piece of that budget should develop in the program that you folks are crafting today, some official statement about Hawaii's true status and how we can work together as the occupying power and also as those that want to stand in Ko Hawaii Pai'aina law. We can work together because we all want Pono. So I'll leave this with you and also a copy for Ron and Desmond. Which is basically who he is now. And it is because and one sister right there. because we all know what happened. And there are those of us very serious, especially in today's world with the imminent rollout of digital currency, digital ID, a global pandemic treaty. I mean, there's so many things that are happening out of a co-opted Washington, DC, that we need to address with clarity and with aloha. So thank you for your time. I'm gonna leave a couple copies for you guys, and my number's on there, and people will wipe this out. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Well, pray for Uncle Abel.
Thank you, Ron. Thanks for clarity.
Since I cannot read fast enough, I wrote it out to just be on the record.
Ron Fujiyoshi.
First I want to say welcome back to Hilo. I believe the last time you were here was April 2023, and it's a little over a year ago, and seemed like much shorter, but then. And then I wanted to welcome the new addition on the commission, the Honorable Mark Browning, and I hope that we can meet him soon. Since the last hearing in Hilo, two major changes have happened. One is from January 1st, the Department of Public Safety has been changed into two different departments. One, the Department of Law Enforcement, and secondly, the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. And the second big change is that from the Oversight Commission's report, we see that your budget of $462,154 is intact from her report. So I hope that's true. So if we view these two changes optimistically, I want to say that the name, the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations, raises our expectation that there will be a focus on rehabilitation for the future. That makes us optimistic. And secondly, that now that you have the budget, we hope that with your staff and resources, you can accomplish the goals that are set up in your strategic plan and in the, what's the other plan? The Reentry and Diversion Strategic Plan of 2024-2025. So we hope the commission will welcome Ohana Hopakele and all of the other restorative justice groups, especially those in the room here, that you will welcome us working together with you to change the system to one that is more rehabilitative. The last time you were here in Hilo, Ohana Hopakele presented two documents to you. The first was Act 117, the Puhonua Act, that was signed into law by Governor Abercrombie in June 2012. And the second was the Faith Pods resolution that was passed by the state legislature in 2021. I also, in my testimony, asked the commission to advocate for older pahau to be given a chance to appear before the Hawaii Paroling Authority upon reaching the age of 65. And I cited a study by Columbia University, which is in the news recently, that talked about the study revealed that nationally arrest rates are almost zero for people age 65 or over. So here in Hawaii, we should develop a rehabilitative system that is a model for the world, since we are the Aloha state and where Kanaka Maoli practice Ho'oponopono. Can't we develop a program together that believes in forgiveness, that works together with an understanding that at age 65, any pahau, no matter what the crime, would automatically have his or her case be reviewed by the Hawaii Paroling Authority? I think this would be fit within this understanding of rehabilitation. I'll leave other people to talk more about Puhonua or the Faith Pods, because they have been working on it. But finally, the last thing I want to ask is, can I end with a request asking for information on the number and percentage of Pahau who are age 65 or older, so that that information be shared with us. So mahalo for letting me testify.
Thank you, Lord. Anyone else? Cool.
Aloha, my name is Kalehau Kama'o, and I would like to just, everything Ron said, I agree with. I share that same optimism with the changing, with the addition of the name rehabilitation, with corrections. I look forward to working, with the department. We are ready. We have our program down, our curriculum is completed, and we look forward to talking with you, Tommy Johnson, if you in there someplace. We look forward to discussing this further with you. Mahalo.
We're gonna look,
Yeah, I guess.
come on. I don't know when the next time we come here, so I didn't get like come all the time though.
Yeah, get better food over here.
Yeah, I just couldn't say that.
Hello, I'm Desmond Homea. Although I'm a member of the Polynesian Voyaging Society and the Royal Order of Kamehameha, I'm here to represent our youth. I'd like to welcome Mark, everybody here. Thank you for the invitation. And good to see Judge Ibarra. I've been with the judiciary for 22 years, so I know what it is to live on both sides of the world. My concern here is the industrialized prison system. As we know, there's billions of dollars that are being spent, which could be better used. That word on the agenda, rehabilitation. When using narratives, it's Native Hawaiian, Pu'uhonua, Ho'oponopono, all of these things of healing. I've been a traditional healer for over 60 years. We have our own medical clinic. I recently, Mama Bear, hi Mama Bear. My concern here is, we were once kiki, we were once kids running around, drinking water from the water hose, giving a stick to go outside and play. My question is, what happened to you when you were a kid back then? Today we have our kupuna in training, which is our youth. And I congratulate Pulamana for the work they've been doing up there. It's been a model for me to try and do that, to make sure that we break the cycle. I think working with our Pahau, and I like to change that word from Pahau to Manaola, to address them as a spiritual person, spiritual power, developing the spiritual relationships with Keakua, whoever they want to credit their great creator. As you know, billions of dollars are spent in the prison system. I visited and spoke with the development of the Norway prison system. Also with the South Pacific, not with South Pacific, but the South America, Central America, that prison system, which is, and I like to point on that because of the development of gangs within the prisons and how the gangs operate within the prison system. Allowed too much. But let me circle back to the word rehabilitation. When using these narratives as Native Hawaiians, I understand that we get increased funding when we use that word, Native Hawaiians. But what do we have done for them? There's Pu'uhonua. Pu'uhonua traditionally has two laws. One, you can have your family come in and help heal you, and it's up to you to say whoever the haku is that I'm ready to release. The other one is death. So it's a safe place for those who commit crimes in the sexual world. In the Western world, and that's what we have to remove our narrative from the view of Americanism, but bring back to what is actually Hawaii. Our true source of peace in the world is the word aloha. Just so that you know what aloha does not mean hello or goodbye. It's two words, alo, face to face, and ha, sharing the essence of the life force, breath of life. With that being said, even today with over tourism, we still have the aloha in effect. But yet the removal in 1959, replacing agriculture with tourism has decimated the very fabric of what we call ohana. And it's not family, it's a discipline of ohana. And that discipline of ohana, it doesn't mean only Hawaiians. We've embraced, we take off our slippers at the door, and we're not even Japanese. But we allow ourselves to embrace the diverse ethnic community we have in Hawaii. Circle back to rehabilitation. I think we should really focus on aina. There was once when Kaho'olawe was a penal colony. Send these violent people to clean up hazmat. I'm a hazmat qualified. What I'm trying to get at is, if we want to make sure that we do rehabilitation, we should reconnect our men who are missing from the discipline of ohana. We've lost half a generation. I'm afraid that we're going to lose another generation. And I attribute that to a lot from the prison system. It's too Americanized. If we want to rehabilitate our men or even our women that are in the prison system, bring them back to aina. Create farms like how they did with the youth facility in Olamana. Create a rehabilitation where they return to aina, where they can feed the community, grow food. We've lost our food sovereignty to tourism. Big Island is a perfect example of sustainability. We should decentralize Big Island because we don't want to pay for the rail system or prisons on other islands. Right?
Right.
I think with the resources we have here on the Big Island, we can take care of ourselves and we'll be very successful with what we do. We have Judge Barrow. He's a strong advocate for it. Even work here. He's a strong advocate for that. If we can get a system, I hate the word project. I don't like the word programs. I like the word duty. Kuleana says responsibility. I think it's a duty as people of Hawaii to care for one another in a sense of ho'oponopono, because you want to make things right. And by bringing our men and women back to aina, the value of aina reinstills who they are as a person, not necessarily as a Hawaiian. But here's an opportunity for the Oversight Committee to really look at this. Instead of bringing the families to the prison to visit in a controlled environment, how's about they come to the aina and work with their men, their dad, or their mom, and go work in a lo'i, reattach themselves to the lepo, to once we were all raised with. Have them drink from the water hose again. Give them a stick and go out there and do work. When I teach at 4 different schools. I got traumatized. We say, well, how come you're doing that? You give your students a stick and a rock, and I tell them go out, sit in the yard. That way I can tell who's gonna be the engineer, who's lazy, and who you can decipher what talent, what skills. That's what our educational system lacks today. Yes. There's no vocational skills in the schools. So when they get briefed from schools, we remove the kani from the house, the mom from our house. Now they're left with foster care, which is it's terrible, as you know. We're losing our children today at many levels. So my belief is we start with baby time. As a Voyager learning from Papa Mau, P.I. Luke, start them at baby time. When our children call out, and the question is, where have we been when they needed us the most? And I'm really strong on this. This billions of dollars, I think the numbers I might be wrong, is 200 to be safe, $250 a day for one prisoner. You're looking at about $100,000 a year. You times that by 100 prisoners, that's billions of dollars. There's nothing coming back for the children. There's nothing coming back. I mean, Big Island, I have modern day Ahupua'a, 260 acres. We discovered 5 fresh springs there. If I can get a responsibility from the state of Hawaii, which is, as we know, shared earlier, we have been illegally occupied for 100 years now, forced into colonization, into the indoctrination of being Americanism. I want to remove that narrative and really, everybody using this word Native Hawaiians. You know, I'm happy to say I'm not Native Hawaiian. I'm half Hawaiian and I'm half Filipino, so I'm stronger yet than that. And I just implore on you, Oversight Committee, you really look at things outside of the box from a cultural view, how we can really rehabilitate them. And it's really simple. Bring them back to the land, bring them back to the island, where you have quality visitation from the families. The children can see the dad working in Aleppo. It brings pride into the family, and it brings love again and aloha for one another. So when they come out, when they're released, they have this vocational skill, which is to grow food. And I just mahalo ki akua for this time. Good to see Dr. Barrow. Thank you. Yeah, mahalo. Aloha.
We're gonna jump to the screen real quick, everyone. I'll be back. Those of you online, anybody want to have go ahead, Kat. Good to see you.
Well, Raylyn has actually had her hand up for a long time.
Yes,
She
I was
should
going to
go
bring that
first.
to your attention. Raylyn has her hand up.
So Raylyn
you.
should go first.
You know, this will be quick. I think what I'm going to talk about relates to the new jail. On May 1st, there was a large mental health day display at the state capitol. And the biggest, most, you know, really looked expensive display was from the University of Hawaii Community Design Center. And I think that's done in also with Department of Corrections, because the whole display was about new corrections facilities throughout the state. And, you know, it was a mental health day at the state capitol. So people that were there were generally all agencies and groups that provide services for people who suffer from behavioral health issues. So one of the things, they were taking input from these groups. And what I kept hearing, because I was standing there, was so many people talking about the fact that people are still being released without identification. And I'm disappointed, because I thought the legislature had passed a bill, and there were so many hearings about how, as far as reentry is concerned, that's like the low-hanging fruit, the most important, you know, something that you could do. It doesn't take a lot of technical expertise or anything. Make sure somebody is released with identification. I know myself, I couldn't function within our community without identification. And to hear so many of these agencies and groups that are trying to assist people with who have mental health issues, as well as other health issues, that are coming out of our jails and prisons without identification is shocking to me, especially when there has been legislation passed. I heard people mentioning that it was because of cost, that the inmates could not afford the $30 or $40, which to me, I mean, if we're paying for stuff, like, we should just foot that bill. And I thought there was reentry money that's part of the budget for Department of Corrections. I'm not sure. I heard somebody else say that machines were broken at the women's prison. And I'm not quite sure how that works out, because I would think you just need to get birth certificates and other documents and just order identification from the state. But I don't know. I don't know if we could find out, like, how many people are being released and without identification, and for what reason. I think it would really help, because it's so hard to talk about a new jail and all these other things when, I don't know, why can't we get that piece right? Anyways, thank you. And they did take input that they were writing on a big board at this display. So if you go to this, I guess the University of Hawaii Community Design Center, they should have input from that event on May 1st, the mental health events at the state capitol. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. Appreciate it. Okay, Kat.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for including the price gouging at Saguaro as agenda number 6. I have been talking with people who are inside and their families outside. And this is a huge issue because it really impacts some of the poorest families in our community. Many of the people at Saguaro have a lot of health problems, and drinking water is absolutely crucial. The water at Saguaro is so chlorinated that the guards have told the men that they drink bottled water. And the men have asked the warden about that. How come they can drink bottled water and we're not even allowed to have our Brita filters, which were allowed in the past? And several family members have called me and told me that they actually have the Brita filters that were returned to them when their loved one was transferred to another facility. So I'm really concerned because this is a health problem, and there are several people who have kidney problems, and drinking water is really important. Also in Arizona, the summer heat is really horrible and they need to be hydrated. And one of the people I've been talking with said that he used to buy a case of water for like $7.80 or something like that. And after the price increase, it's almost $15. Now, when people make 25 cents an hour, they would have to work for a long time to support, to afford a case of water. This is really a health issue, and I'm hoping that the department takes that into consideration and realizes that people need to drink water in a place that's really hot. Again, say this is visible incarceration. Families are paying huge costs for their loved ones who are inside to have, necessities. So I look forward to that discussion, and I will be all over this issue. I sent a memo to the to the commissioners. I actually love Kara and the commissioners. It sounds like a band. So you guys could be a rock band.
In our free time.
But I sent a memo outlining research that's been done by Prison Policy Institute, and also the appeal. They created the first nationwide database of 46 prisons that responded. And I included some handouts that are kind of just different sections of the 2 reports that I think you would find super interesting. So thank you so much for caring about all the people of Hawaii who are inside and their families outside. Mahalo nui.
Thank you, Kat. Is there any other hands online that may want to provide some testimony before we begin our meeting? Is there more? Is there another picture I can see in hands? No, sorry.
I think we're good, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move along in our meeting. As you folks know, this meeting was scheduled for last month, so a lot of this information is, it may be a month old, but not really. But we're going to go through it real quick. We want to invite in our item number 5, the Director of Correctional and Rehabilitation, Tommy Johnson. How you doing this morning, Tommy?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Thank you for being here.
Sure. So I'll go right down the list here, okay? So the first item on the list, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. First item on the list is the transition to corrections and rehabilitation. So the transition is still ongoing now. We're updating policies and procedures and forms. We've purchased new uniforms, 2 new shirts for each corrections officer. We'll badge them up for them, and they're responsible for the badging of the other uniforms they have. We have changed out the uniforms at Halava. So when you go there, you won't see the prison stripes anymore. You're going to see the khaki style uniforms. And so we're going to probably look at that style uniform across the spectrum of the different facilities. But we'll let you know on that. The new jail, there's no update with the exception of we did not receive money from the legislature as we asked for, to continue planning and design for 24, but we did receive $10 million for planning and design for 25 in the budget. We did not receive the money we asked for to replace the Maui fence or to look for site selection for a new Kona jail. We did receive $18 million to replace the fencing at Halava. As you know, it opened in 1985, I think, and it's the same fencing and it's fallen apart. We received $20 million for the relocation site selection for KCCC on Kauai. The problem is it's in a flood inundation zone, so whenever it rains heavy, it floods out. And the DOT plans to widen the highway, which would actually take out the front 2 dormitories on that property. So we're going to proceed with that. We will proceed with the planning and design for the new OCCC. We'd asked for $45 million for a consolidated healthcare unit at Halava. We received $22.5 million. We'll have to go in next year and ask for the money. The problem with that is when you do it in phases like that, it will cost more money because contractors have to gear up, staff up, and then they have to phase down, gear down. I explained that to the legislature, but we did better than most agencies with respect to CIP funding. So of the $89 million in CIP request, we received $60.5 million for that. And we have some other things were trade-offs with respect to position counts. We are recruiting now to fill vacancies across the state in the ACO ranks, but in particular for Ho'okipa Cottage and for the women's new dormitory structure. That should be done sometime in July, I believe. So the plan is when the dormitory is done, the wardens at OCCC and women's have already almost finished their planning. So what will happen is all of the female offenders from OCCC will move to the women's facility. The women's facility will become a true hybrid jail prison, and OCCC will no longer take female intakes. All the intakes will be done at the women's facility. Then we will notify the police departments and the sheriffs on a certain date that all female intakes are to be transported to WCCC. So we're trying to fill those vacancies now. We did receive money in the budget, $16 million, to do the planning and design for the new kitchen and some funding for the laundry operation. So back when the former director, Nolan Espenda, requested the money for the expansion of the new dormitory at Women's, the new visitation center and administration building and intake area, they did not include the funding to expand the kitchen or the laundry services. So we have an average of between 95 and 130 women at WCCC at any given time, plus the additional staffing. So the kitchen needs to be expanded to accommodate those additional bodies coming in, and also the new staff. And the laundry needs to be expanded to accommodate the new staff, the new inmates coming over, the detainees. So we do have a plan in place to do kind of what's called a bridge kitchen when construction gets heavy at Women's, where we can still do cooking at the facility, probably at the Ho'okipa site for the facility. And then once the new kitchen is built, it will be able to handle the new load of the 100+ females and then the new staffing at both locations. The Ho'okipa site will be used as a work furlough transition site now. That's our goal. That's where we are with the new facilities. As you know, not new facility, with the construction. HCCC has a new dormitory of 48 beds that's going to be finished, I think, in June. Let me go back. There is an issue with some of the windows in the new dormitory at Women's. So we've asked the builder to replace the windows. Some of the windows, when you walk up to them, it'll make you dizzy because of the warping of the glass. So we pointed it out to the builder, DAGS, and our CIP staff pointed out to them. So some of those windows had to be replaced. The dormitory at HCCC will be done, I think, next month. So Warden Kramer is working on finalizing the plan now, how we're going to use that dormitory, and that'll allow them to spread out. When the women move to WCCC, that'll allow the men at OCCC to spread out some. We've diverted as many female officers as we can to the women's facility. And the construction work for the new camera system has begun at Women's. Now, when I say new camera system, what we're doing is 3 phases. We are replacing the cameras that cannot be repaired, repairing the cameras that can be repaired, and we're installing new cameras outside of every control station and in the blind spots that existed before. So Women's is the first facility we're going to start with. We're using federal ARPA funds for that purpose. And then we're going to go over to Alava. We will save OCCC for last because we need to see what's going to happen with that facility. I don't want to put $6 or $7 million worth of new cameras in there just to have it shut down in a couple of years from now when we finish the build on a new facility. And we're looking at also upgrading some of the camera systems in Maui. Now, Maui has a new dormitory, a 36-bed dormitory going up. That's going to take a little bit of time to finish. For Kauai, there's no new construction. There's no new construction at Kulani. And there's no new construction at WCCC. We are purchasing new medical unit type modular offices for the folks at KCCC. One of the things that the commission noted when they went out there was the lack of space for the medical staff. So we are purchasing those using federal funds. I think that's where we stand. I think that's everything. If I forgot anything, I will send it to you guys later. I'll send it to Cara later. We did respond yesterday in writing to the 7 recommendations from the commission from its March 21st trip to KCCC, and we're finalizing the response to Maui now.
Thank you, Tom.
Next week, I will be in Arizona at the facility there, along with some other staff from here. We're going up there. So, Kat, we will take a look at the stuff that you mentioned, that you mentioned while I'm up there, and some other things. Okay. Subject to you guys' questions. I think that's all I have. Oh, one other thing. There was an issue about the commissary prices, right? So we did some research with Core Civic. It was their vendor who raised the prices. It's not Core Civic, so I want to be clear. And so what we had them do was the high price items where sometimes things went up 200, 300%. They found substitutable items that cost less that are now going to be on the menu, if you will, the purchase list. And for those items that they could not find a replacement that cost less, they're going to be taken off the list altogether. Okay. That's all I have, guys.
I have 2 quick questions, Tommy, because we're on the Big Island and we have some of the community members here live. I want to make sure that they understand, even though you were not funded in terms of expansion of here on the Big Island in the Kona project, that is still something that we will continue to move forward in the next legislative session.
Yes, we're going to ask for the money. We had asked for, I think it was $5 million for site selection, planning, and design. We didn't get it. We're going to go in next year and ask for it again. We did preliminarily look at different lots, if you will. So to be honest with you, the closer we get to the courthouse, the better for transport purposes. And about 34% of the 300 plus offenders and detainees we have at HCCC are actually from the Kona side of the island. So the thought process here is that if we can build a small jail, 120 to 140 bed facility, we can keep those people in the community where they are. The families can come visit them and not have to drive all the way to Hilo just to find out visits been canceled. And we can keep them connected to the community. And when we do the reintegration, we could do the reintegration out of that facility right back into the neighborhood where they're from.
Yeah. All right, thank you. I just wanted to make it clear that that's still an objective of the DCR, that we continue to move forward, trying to resolve the overcrowding issues here on the Big Island, Hawaii County.
Mark, this is Martha.
Yes, Mark.
The trying to get a facility in Kona has been something the department has looked at for more than 20 years now. And Tommy, I remember when they were planning the new courthouse, which Judge Ibarra knows all about that planning. At that time, we were asking whether we could actually build a facility right next to it, but the courts didn't want to deal with us.
Okay.
So it's a long time project, yeah.
when we, as we begin to transition from, and thank you, Tommy, for that report, that was really, thoughtful. The next item agenda is the commission will have a discussion on commissary concerns. We really want to hear from your point of view in terms of, we can nitpick and really focus on the price gouging, but really want to understand from the DCR's perspective, what is the purpose of commissary?
Well, the purpose of the commissary is to provide the offenders in custody with alternatives to what's the food that's served, right? But also to provide them with an outlet, providing they have the funds to purchase the goods. It's everything from Spam to chips, healthier foods, believe it or not, you can get. But I think the commissary is important because it's a good morale booster, to be honest with you, for the inmates. And it does give them something to look forward to because they can order once to twice a month from the price list. And so, but 4% of the sales, 4% tax is included that goes to the VIII program, as you know. So I meant to mention this earlier. I'm sorry, I apologize. So I'm glad you brought it up. We asked Core Civic to provide a better breakdown of the cost of each item. So what is the initial cost of each item? What is the tax that's being paid on that item? And then what is the 4% surcharge for VIII, so that they'll know exactly what each item that they, on the receipt, what the item cost, what the tax was, what the surcharge was, and what the total cost is, right? So that's going to take them a little bit, but they agreed to do that because it does make sense to do that. So anyway, I think that from our standpoint, the commissary is a morale booster for the inmates, and it gives them something other than the facility food, and it makes them feel normal to have chips or have a piece of Spam or to have popcorn or something, because the facilities don't generally serve those things except Spam. Yeah.
And I thank you for sharing that. And so, commissioners, and I may summarize on what Tommy just talked about. Do you have any of your own individual concerns that you want to bring up right now in regards to the commissary on the agenda item that we now have? Hearing none, I look at commissary as and then thank you, Tommy. In addition to what Tommy just said, it's really should be looked at in terms of, and Uncle earlier said he doesn't like the word program, but I'm going to use the word. It really should be looked at as its own individual program. Yeah, into a community of the justice involved individuals that, commissary provides a means of incentives. Yeah, is that if I work, even though I don't make a lot, I can learn how to budget, so I can figure out how to pay for commissary items. I can have more incentive to go and get a job that's offered by the facility and work. Yeah, and it really integrated into the overall programming of each of the facilities and figure out how can this be a positive in the journey that the individual has through our systems as an overall program. And so when you understand why you're doing commissary and what you hope that commissary program is its effect on the population, you want to be able, when you talk about pricing, are we serving the purpose of commissary by gouging the prices? So you understand what I'm trying to say, Kat, is really we don't want to focus, you can focus as much as you want on the pricing, but is the program being accomplished? Is the mission being accomplished on why we have it in our system? Morale is always good, incentive is good, but it should always be as an addition to all the other programs that are surrounding the individuals in the system, so that they have, that it is not just to eat, but to provide them with motivation to move through their journey, whether it be studying or working, job skills, or just, being able to eat and talk and be regular in a social environment. So just wanted to throw that out there as we look at it and further discuss about the price gouging, is really trying to understand why do we have commissary in there? And it is the pricing as important as the why we have it in there. Okay, so that's the food for thought at this time. Right now, we have had discussions with Tommy on this. The staff has also been working with the mainland branch to understand their perspective, and we're doing our own comparisons from what was before the prices to what is now happening. and we're looking at what went up, what went down. And so we're hoping to have a more intensive report later by the next meeting, and to let everyone know that we are looking at it, Kat, and it may be, and Tommy's gonna go to Arizona next week, as he said, and we have better answers the next time around. Thank you, Commissioners.
Mark, I want to make a comment also. Looking at the Saguaro Commissary list, 2 pages of it is hygiene. And so we need to ensure that indigent inmates have access to all hygiene items. That it is not just a luxury. Some of them may be seen a luxury, some of the lotions and stuff, but if you have very, very dry skin, you need that lotion. It is for your health, you need that lotion. So I want to bring that up, that hygiene projects really concern me.
Yeah, because part of the purpose is also understanding that they can have a choice. Yeah. If this is what the facility offers, if they have the incentive to go and make a little money and get the better product, then they'll get a better product. It's no different than what we do outside in the supermarkets. Yeah.
Well, my fear is that some of them will not get any product if they don't have the money, such
Yeah.
as lotions, you know, things like that. They're seen as a luxury. And for someone with very dry skin, it's not a luxury. It's a health issue.
Thank you, Martha. We want to move forward to item number 7 on the agenda, which is HB 1800. This has been the battle, as you folks know. At the end of last year's legislative session, we found out that the commission was not funded. Yeah, and by the grace of the governor, we were allowed another year of funding, which would have ended at the end of June of this year. And so there was a lot of advocating in January and February by myself and the oversight coordinator through the House and through the Senate to discuss the budgetary needs of the commission, as well as making us a regular line item in the Attorney General's budget. So at this particular point in time, we're excited to say that we are being funded. But Kat, like I told you earlier today, you know, the session may be over, but we have to see what happens July 1st. Yeah, so there is some relief that we have funding for our staff and for the commission. But until we see the budget sheets that have not come out yet, then we can really relax, kind of, you know.
The budget sheets have been printed. The budget sheets are on the legislative website. So we do have money for 1 new position. You know, what we don't have a lot of money for is for the travel. So, you know, attending mainland conferences and stuff could be curtailed because of that. And also Neighbor Island. Like, I was really hoping that we could do our facility visits separate from a official meeting of the commission on the Neighbor Islands, because we have not had time to really do as thorough a visit as we should do, or tour we should do, but the money is just not there. So we're going to have to continue to combine them.
Okay, we'll have to take a look at the budget sheets that you said were out. I wasn't aware of it.
I didn't see the CD1. I've been checking every day.
Yeah.
And I don't see the CD1s posted.
I think it's on the, I think everything on the agree list was approved.
Yeah, but until you see the CD1, you don't really know.
Oh, okay.
And it's not up there yet. I've been checking every day.
No,
Thank
and
you.
thank you, Ken. I was trying to figure out how to explain it, because normally I get the budget sheets for my own personal budget with the kids, and I haven't seen it yet in my own CIP projects. So thank you. We'll continue to wait for that and then make a report out once we receive it. That's gonna give us the confirmation that, okay, it's gonna happen. Yeah. That's pretty much the item number 7 in terms of the budget for the facility. I mean, for the commission, sorry, I have too many hats. It's exciting because now we can look forward to at least another year. Yeah, another year of work, and hopefully this particular request is going to be something that we don't have to ask for on a yearly basis. If we ask for anything, would be increases for more staff. Okay.
One advantage is we are now in the budget. Well, the previous years, it was through a separate bill, which meant you had to fight and introduce it each year. So we are now a line item in the budget. Doesn't mean they can't zero it out next year. Of course, they could do that, but that's a big advantage being in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Mike here.
Go ahead, Mike.
If I may, is Tommy still there? Did he leave? Well, I wanted to tell Tommy, I really appreciate his collegiality. We're trying to sort things out ahead of time, and it seems like it's a new day, but I did want to put on the agenda officially the governor's executive order on trauma-informed care. As we all know, an executive order has the force and effect of law, and I think we need to put it on our agenda somewhere in the future. It's Executive Order 24-2. Maybe, and I sent it to Kara, I sent it to you, maybe we could put it on our website. Everybody should read this, because our people in custody definitely have been through trauma. Much of the staff has. And Josh Green is amazing. He's a physician. He's also created an Office of Wellness. So if I could gently suggest that we stick that on the maybe future agendas, suggest everybody read it and realize its force and effect of law. It's not just a feel good. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Mike. As you folks know, I made a announcement earlier about the maternity leave of the oversight coordinator. Martha, this is about a month-old agenda. Do you feel it necessary that we have a vote as commissioners to TA Carol?
No, we don't need to do that. You as the chair can just assign her.
I just wanted to make sure if all the commissioners were comfortable for that. That's how I saw it. It's not like we have multitude of staff. Best person qualified is Kara. She does qualify for the position. So we went ahead and we notified the Attorney General, herself, the personnel, and of course the governor, OHA, the Chief Justice, the House Speaker, and the Senate President, that there has been a change, that she's on maternity leave, and that Kara will now be temporarily assigned as the oversight coordinator up until about August 9th at this time. Okay, so at least everybody knows ahead of time that Kara will fulfill the role of oversight coordinator for the rest of the summer. Yeah.
And so she will be the contact for the commission also for the next 3 months.
Yes. Okay, any further questions on her role, let me know, but you folks can continue to email her and she'll email us as well when we're moving forward. With that being said, one of the things, real quick.
Mark, can I go back one moment to the legislature? I just want to compliment the work that was done in getting us in the budget, because I know at the end of the session, Kristen had some concerns that a bill from last year that would have extended her term, allowed us to go into special session, did not go to conference, but that happens all the time. I'm not worried about that. What she accomplished with you is getting us in the budget, and that was one hell of a feat. And I thank you very, very much for accomplishing that.
Yeah, it was an interesting journey talking to as many representatives and senators that we have, and I'm not going to make any other comment than it was nice to meet them. So thank you, Martha, on that. Right now, 3 of the biggest issues that Kara has been tasked with, that has been on the forefront of Christians' advocacy, is our staffing report. Okay, we have, in the same time that we were visiting representatives and senators, we were flying to every facility and talking to the staff about the survey that we done with them, and showing them the results and getting feedback. Now she had promised DCR employees that she'd have that report out at the end of May. And that was on the assumption that she was giving birth at the end of June. So now, that report, we're still that's number 1 priority for Kara, to get that report out. It's really amazing to hear what the employees have to say at this particular point in time. And that's going to be reported out in the staff survey. Second is that we had asked DCR for a lot of the Kara can probably explain it better, but a lot of the methodology of which how are they abiding by all the statutes on reentry? Okay, and how are they collecting the data on whether or not they are legally in compliance with the laws about reentry? Once we get that information, Kara will be submitting a report that we will make public on this is the status of reentry in the state of Hawaii. Okay, so that's a big one. That's number 2 priority for her. And then the next one is of course, the report on the task force on the Hawaiian Paroling Authority's setting of minimum sentencing. And we're gonna go more in that down in the agenda here. But those are the 3 biggest things that we're moving forward to. And having a staff of 2, that's a lot. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. Kara has her, she took on the TA, she took on those reports that she has to go through. So thank you, Kara.
Mark,
Yes.
my understanding is also that from Christian is that the department is very, very interested in getting the results of the staff survey. And so you've done a big service for them also, or we've done a big service for them also.
We thank Tony Johnson to allow to use his emails to be able to talk to all of his staff at one time. Yeah, per email. So that was really a good thing. We did both online surveys and we did live. We went into the facilities for those that were not able to get online and handed them hard copies. So very good with that. With that being said, I wanted to bring forth Kara to go over last month's Oversight Coordinator's report. Yep.
Hey, hello, everyone. So this is the Oversight Coordinator report from last month, as Mark mentioned. So there'll just be a few things to highlight. So I wanted to share a little bit on Mark's legislative update and also what Mark mentioned. And it is just a huge thank you. A thank you to the community. A thank you to all of our supporters that showed up for us to support the commission and our funding and our future. I know people in this room came in person, Kat was in person, Bob Merce submitted testimony too. So we really just want to thank you all for your support of our work. And we're really grateful. Okay, a few other updates. So Kristen participated in the Breaking Cycles virtual roundtable. This was in April. During this presentation, there was a behavioral care center from Davidson County Sheriff's Office. So this is almost like a jail alternative with treatment options that was presented during the roundtable. And also the architects who designed Las Colinas, which is a very rehabilitative jail that actually Kristen and I went to with Bob Merce and Rep Hashem last year. They also presented at this roundtable. So Kristen was grateful for the opportunity to be there and represent the commission and also, you know, really be a part of a different type of discussion around jail design. Then the next topic is the KCCC report, and I know Martha will be covering that after. And then the final 2 items that I want to share about are the 2 items that Mark mentioned. So the correctional staff survey and report, and then also the reentry report. I'll just add that the surveys, we went to every single facility. We went post to post. We were at every facility 2 to 3 days. And we had conversations and distributed surveys to all the staff that were interested. Mark and Kristen went around to every facility and did talk stories with staff around recommendations for how to improve different aspects of their work. So that will be put together in a report. That's the #1 priority for the office right now. And yeah, I'll be diving right into that next week. And then finally, the reentry report, which I'm excited to share about. So earlier this year, I put in a very bulky data request to the Department of Correction and Rehabilitation. related to reentry and specifically the 353H, the Comprehensive Offender Reentry Program. So I have been receiving information back from the department and I'm really grateful for their cooperation so far. And after the staffing report is complete, then we'll move on to that report. But I'm really looking forward to getting information out there on reentry and specifically as it relates to our legislative requirements on reentry specifically. And then finally, we have the House Concurrent Resolution Task Force, which Mark Patterson, our chair, is also chairing. We have an upcoming meeting in June and then another meeting coming up in September. And we'll share more about that probably at next week's meeting and then as we move forward.
Kara, I just want to ask one thing about the HCR 23. I'm under the impression that any proposed law has to be given to the legislature in August. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So
Yeah.
so it's my understanding that it's not the actual legislation that needs to be written, but general ideas of what we would like the legislation to be needs to be submitted to the Legislative Reference Bureau by that time. And we've been working with the Council for State Governments. And so we will meet that deadline with that information for sure.
Okay, I would suggest that you really come up with the Council and State Governments draft legislation because the LRB has not been involved with all of this with you. And you're going to be the ones that hold that information. So they'll be groping around a lot. So the more you can put things into the form of a bill, even if though it's a draft that's going to be edited, I would really suggest you get as far as you can on that when you give it to LRB.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good
Thank you,
thought. Thank you, Martha.
And if you want help with the language, I can help with stuff like that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And that's it. That's it for
Thank
my
you.
report.
Item number 10, Martha, you want to take the lead on that?
Yes, I will. So we visited Kauai Community Correctional Center on March 21st. And on the report, the very last thing I want to read first, because I think it's important, and that is the commission extends special thanks to the KCCC staff for their time, professionalism, and expertise during this tour. Kauai has always had a different flavor to it compared to other facilities, and this has been true from when it opened in 1977. So we do compliment the staff and the administration for how they interact with the inmates especially. It is mostly a very respectful interaction that takes place. The rated capacity of the facility is 128 and the head count was 117 the day we visited, 96 males and 21 females. So it was under capacity. I want to remind people who have reviewed our capacity report, which was published by the Corrections Population Management Commission in 2001 and is still the guiding document for the facilities, that the cabins are not included. The cabins are cabins that inmates built to be located at people's houses or house lots after Hurricane Iniki. And after they rebuilt their houses, 3 of those cabins were returned to Kauai in 1993, and they have been used as housing ever since. They're not included in the capacity because at that time in 2001, there was only 1 exit from each one of the cabins where a fire marshal requires 2, and there was no fire suppression equipment. I don't know whether that's changed, so it's something that we as a commission really have to look at and see whether we can update and include the cabins. Let's see. We also thank the staff for giving us access to all areas of the facility and to inmates to speak to them privately without any issues with the department. There were 2 critical construction projects that were going on in the time that we were there. The first is the main sewer coming out of the administration building where the 3 holding cells are was broken. Their toilets in that area for the staff were working, but the cells were not operational. And so they had to move the inmates that were in those cells. They primarily were the women inmates because we don't have a designated secure women housing there. So they moved them out to the old COVID facility, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But there's another problem, major problem, that is a county project. The water main on the highway is being serviced now, and because the water main is being serviced, it is delaying the construction of the new kitchen at KCCC. And when I talk about the kitchen, I'm going to tell you what bad condition it's in, and we need it repaired desperately. Okay, Module A, when we were there last year, half of it was under construction. That was completed. Module A is the oldest housing unit within the facility, built in 1977. They built a new shower room, but one of the things we noticed is that water is pooling in the center of the shower room, and that really needs to be resolved because that's how you get infections spread and you get mold and other things. So we did bring that to the attention of the facility, and the staff told us that from the time they accepted the project, that was a problem. So I'm a little concerned as to why DAGS or the department has not called back the contractor to resolve it. I may have this wrong, but as I recall, the intent was there are 4 units within Module A, and those 4 units are broken down, each have 3 cells, a very tiny day room outside of them. Then all 4 units open into a larger day room. While we were there, 3 of the units were filled, and one had only 1 inmate in. And what the staff told us is it's their intention to move the women into that sub-unit of Module A. My only concern is if they move the women in, how often are the women going to be able to use the main day room, the larger day room, because men will be in the facility also at that time. In Module B, also another thing they have in Module A is a law library. We've not had any complaints about that, but we do express concern that the women would have to go into a men's unit to access the law library. But we have not had complaints about that, but we just continue to have as a concern. When we went into Module B was added in 1986, and the cells are much larger than cells we have in other places. There's approximately 157 square feet. So it was designed to hold 2 double bunks, so 4 inmates. In fact, they have 3 double bunks in each one of these units with 6 inmates in the cell. We spoke to the individuals in cell B1, and they were deeply concerned about the time that is spent in their cells, claiming that they were confined in their cells for approximately 22 hours a day. That really does make it into a very restrictive housing for them, and especially the mission of the department has changed to one of rehabilitation. We expressed our concern about that. They can't be in their cells for 22 hours and not get programming. We were also concerned that they had put steel shutters, this was their last time too, over the windows in the doors of the cell that you look into the day room, and the staff claim they did that for security reasons, but I don't see it in other facilities, and I don't understand the need for them. It means that they can't see other inmates who are gathering in the day room or anything that's going on outside their cell. We did find that there was water leaking into the day room from cell B2, and staff went in there. As I recall, they said something like a towel had been put in the sink and the towel was dripping onto the floor. But I may be wrong about that because it's not in the report. Module C, if I was living over at Kauai, I'd want to be in Module C. It is an L-shaped building that opened in 1997 with 2 large dormitories that have half walls between each one of the bays for sleeping. And in each bay, there are 2 bunks, two places for people to sleep. The inmates, it's been completely renovated over the last year. It's been completed now, brand new bathrooms. The inmates have a lot of freedom of movement in that area. They have a large day room they're able to congregate in. So it is a minimum security area, and it is very clean, and the inmates seem very happy to be living there, and I understand why. Cabins A through C, A, B, and C. A and B are for males, C is for females. And the male cabins, which are kind of put in an L shape, they have lanais outside of them where the inmates use that as the day room. In the women's module, or cabin C, they had to enclose the lanai to allow for more beds, and that meant there were no outside areas for the women. During our visit last year, the women complained that when they did go outside, they had to go to the pavilion, which is in 100% cited the men, and they did not feel comfortable with that. Since our last visit, they have built a very small lanai outside that cabin now, but they're still restricting the women's access to the lanai because men pass it all the time to go to different work assignments. And there's one mechanical assignment that's nearby that they would be looking directly into that. So Tommy has told us he's trying to address that with the facility to ensure that women have access to outside without being seen by men. Let's see, the shipping containers, there are 9 total women in there when we visited. There were 4 cells, one was completely empty. The 4 cells were designed. They should have had only 1 double bunk in them, but in fact they had 3 double bunks in them, but we did not find them overcrowded at all. There basically was 2 or 3 inmates per cell. But our concern is they covered the window in the door of the cell because they don't want men looking in, but it also means natural light isn't coming in, and it's required that these people get natural lighting. We keep on going back and forth with the facility about this, about their security concerns and their concerns about the women interacting with men who are going past, but we need to resolve this. They need to have daylight in there. The suicide watch observation cells, there was no one on suicide watch while we were there, and those were the ones that were not usable anymore because of the sewer problem, so they were not being used at all. The kitchen is in very bad shape. It's the facility-wise kitchen and also the mess hall for Module C, which is the L-shaped module. And the floors of the kitchen and mess hall were worn through to bare wood in some areas and completely gone in others. So pieces of plywood had been laid over these very large areas where there was floor missing. And so when you stepped on that, of course, it sunk down. It's a dangerous situation. A new floor must be laid as soon as possible or somehow get it repaired. Tommy's response to this was to let us know that an award had been made for $4.5 million for a new kitchen, but as I mentioned earlier, they cannot start on that until the county water issue is fixed at the highway. So there is no resolution in the near future. We will urge them again, you need to do something to make that floor safe. And it's not just in the mess hall, it's actually in the kitchen where people are working and cooking. And there are places in the floor where you could fall right through. Let's see. Staffing shortages, as with other facilities, staffing burnout was very obvious. Staff reported they're very consistently working 16 and 24-hour shifts. I want to say also, though, this is not the lack of trying on the part of the state to fill these positions. The advertisements are ongoing. And I think that Tommy told us they're going to do 6 trainings this year, but they're not getting enough people who are appropriate applying for the positions. So if you folks know any folks that might be interested in helping us with this transition from a punitive system to a rehabilitative system, this is the time to join us. And I really hope that we get some really good people coming in. I will, once again, though, the staff strives to promote positive interactions with the inmates, and our observations were that those interactions were cordial and respectful on both sides. You know, you give respect to people and they will give respect back to you. The facility work lines. Another thing we discovered is that KCCC had made a decision, I think decades ago, that they were not paying anybody to work on their work lines. Policy calls for 25 cents an hour. What we were told is that the facility believes it's best for people in custody to give back to the facility and community by volunteering their time on the work lines. And they see paying 25 cents an hour as disrespectful. Tommy addressed this immediately and said, you will abide by that and they will get paid for their work on work lines. He was not aware of that. My biggest concern, I think our biggest concern, was while we were in the security office, I observed that there was a restraint chair and a wrap chair. And these are on the continuum of use of force. These are the highest end of the continuum. A person in a restraint chair is totally buckled down, arms, legs, torso, head. in the restraint chair. In a wrap chair, it is more a netting that goes all the way around them, and the wrap chairs are more commonly used with the mentally ill that need to be restrained. I think many of you will remember 4-point and 5-point beds from the past. They're no longer in use. I think they'd use the wrap chair instead. When we brought this to Tommy's attention, he claims that they have a policy currently. He referred to a 2012 policy that is entitled Restraints and Seclusion Clinically Ordered. And I do not think that a policy applies because, first of all, I do not think this is a 2012 policy. I don't think they purchased the chairs before 2012. I do not remember any facility having a restraint chair, and I was deputy director in 2012. So they're also not included in the definition of this. I looked at restraint chair policies throughout the United States. The reason this issue is so important is restraint chairs have been subject to much litigation throughout the United States because inmates have been injured and even died while in restraint chairs. So states and jails are very good about putting specific policies for use of those chairs. They're never to be used for punishment. They're to be used for control. And in many of the states, it had to be only under mental health ordering that they could use the chair. So it had to be somebody in a mental health crisis. So what the recommendations we made were under what conditions may the restraint chair be used, who must approve the use of the restraint chair, warden, deputy warden, chief of security. Healthcare must be informed. And from the policy he sent us, it implies that healthcare is the only one that can put an inmate in a restraint chair. I did not get that impression talking to the staff. Placing an individual in the chair must be filmed, such as we do with cell extractions. The individual should be checked on a regular basis, at least every 10 minutes, because you can lose circulation in the chair. Remember, these people are resisting being in the restraint chair, so they're moving around a lot. You need to ensure there is no medical problem, their blood is circulating correctly. There should be a time limit on the use of these chairs. In most states and jails, I found it was 2 hours, with some allowing extension up to 10 hours, but 10 hours was the most. An individual who is placed in a chair due to a mental health issue must have the mental health and medical approval for that, which Tommy implied to this policy is how it's done. And then a log must be maintained for the duration of the restraint. There is no log. I don't know how the director could respond to us that he knew how the chair was being used when there is no record as to how the chair is being used. So obviously, this is something that I personally have great concern about. The shipping containers outside building, the administration building, do not have staff assigned to it. And therefore, there are long periods of time that we're under the impression that nobody's checking on the women in the containers. And we believe that there has to be a regular schedule of how often they're going to be checked. And it should not be less than every hour that they're checking them. If someone is on suicide watch, of course, they're going to be following the suicide watch protocol. When we were there was no one on suicide watch. We need to immediately prioritize the construction and replacement of the kitchen. Again, Tommy got the funding for it. It's $4.4 million, but and it has been awarded. The contract has been awarded, but they cannot start construction until the water main problem near the highway is resolved. We ask that they remove the covers in the shipping container windows to allow in natural light. We ensure individuals in the facility are receiving the most out-of-cell time possible in alignment with the rehabilitative and therapeutic environment. And again, I want to remind you, the inmates in Module B were complaining that they were in their cells for 22 hours a day. And that's 8 people, even though it's 157 square feet larger than a regular cell, it's 8 people in that cell for 22 hours a day. We recommend that they have daily schedules of activities be posted in all the housing units for transparency regarding about when inmates know they're going to be out of their cells and what they can participate in. We want to ensure the incarcerated women in cabin C have access to outdoor space. Again, Tommy is addressing that. Ensure the individuals who work in the facility work lines are paid according to department policy, and Tommy addressed that immediately. So are there any questions about this?
Commissioner, the report will be on the website. We are grateful that Tommy did respond to all of our concerns. And as you heard in Martha's presentation, that he is responding, not just that he responded in writing, but he's still following up on some of those concerns as well. Yeah. Other than that, that was this is the second round, commissioners, that we'll be going around the neighbor islands. And where we're able to see what we saw the first time and what was improved and what was not improved. So we're learning.
Mark, can I add something, sir?
Go ahead, Mike.
Martha, I think there has to be padding in any kitchen, whether the floor is rotten or not, because it causes orthopedic problems with the feet, the knees, the backs. And when I was there last time, a year ago, I didn't see any padding. Is there padding now?
No, the floor is in atrocious condition, dangerous condition.
No, but you could layer padding inch or two on top of it so that people their feet don't get, bunions and orthopedic problems. Aside from the floor, I'm talking about padding, trauma to the legs.
The floor cannot even hold up the plywood that they put over some of the holes. It's in very bad condition.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Mike. At this time, I don't see any benefit in that having at this particular point. When you walk through the kitchen and the offenders who are working in there are telling you where not to step, that's me. That's something.
Jump here. Yeah.
Boss, don't step there, boss. Follow me, because they know how to navigate that floor, so.
Oh, that's okay. And then the contractor was Kitsap out of Washington. I don't know why they can't use local contractors, but that's another story. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. The response, ladies and gentlemen, the response to our report that Martha has just shared with us, that Tommy gave back, and we appreciate him responding, is also on our webpage. Will be on our webpage. Yeah, we'll be on our webpage. Sorry.
Can I just add one more thing about the contractor that Mike just brought up? I don't know who is the contractor on the rehabilitation of module A, but the facility was very dissatisfied with how they worked, how delayed the project kept on getting, and those could have been local people. I don't know. So it's, they did not have a good experience in the Module A renovation. And again, we showed that there's flooding now going on in the shower room, which is brand new.
Okay, thank you, Martha, for that update. And I just want to give a shout out, as we understand, as I've always advocated, Kauai, with the conditions that they are going through and the staffing issues that are going through, and like Hilo, the main reason why those facilities continue to operate and continue to be moving in the direction that they're moving, despite the structure and despite the vacancies, is really the uniqueness of the individual culture of the island. Yeah, the staffing, like we said, and the relationships they have with their population is remarkable. And that relationship they have, and basically the bottom line is everybody knows everybody. Yeah, and so they have that respect for each other, and they're allowed to do things that you would not see at Halawa or CCC or Waialua. So same thing here in Hilo, we see the same interaction with the correctional officers and the population here as well. So continue to shout out for the staff in this appreciation week for all that they do to increase the safety of the environments that they have to put up with. So thank you, Martha. Yeah. I think that we've already discussed whatever needs to be discussed about the HCR 23. Yeah. And so, really want to, that was a lot, everybody. I know it was a lot, but if you look about, we've been around for what, 5 years now? I don't think the public has ever heard a report on a facility before. And so we're getting into the habit of going into the facilities, able to produce these reports and be honest and transparent. This is a bad situation right now. And so we're very happy with this aspect of coming to the county, having these meetings here, and being able to go firsthand into these facilities to see what is really happening and push the advocacy and help the staff get operational changes and renovations happen. So with that being said, this is a time that I'm going to open up for public comment again and just here's the chair, and this is the time if you wanted to come up to add to what you heard or other issues that you feel was not brought up. And I'll start here live.
Yeah, I wanna, yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Uh,
Over here.
But I think,
Big one.
yeah, no, but I think, I haven't seen many of these people for a long time. And so I think it's relatively important for me to acknowledge the people who has come here together. Because we're sharing something that's been told to us about something we know very little about. Okay, so I want to be sure that to recognize the faces and the people. Thank you so much for being here.
I wish I could be there, but I have COVID, and so I didn't want to infect anybody.
It's not a disrespect for you, because I'm being with you over a screen. And I'm sharing for the first time, being with people who are trying to bring us together. But the person that I think I would like to address is the judge. Okay? Because I've always had trouble with understanding the rule of law. And I would like him to help me with that, because it seems to me that a lack of understanding for the concept rule of law is establishing uncomfortableness of me sitting here and listening to someone telling me about a condition that my brothers and sisters are experiencing because of an infraction of the rule of law. Okay, so I would like him to, my son's a lawyer. He has trouble telling me. I'm from Papakulia. I moved to the Big Island in Hilo. And I have a place in Waimea. And it seemed to me like the proportion of growth on the islands is directly connected to the amount of people going to jail.
Mhm.
And I want to make that point. So if you can help me with this understanding of rule of law, I would deeply appreciate, and I feel a lot more comfortable being here.
If you would want to talk to me after the meeting, I'll be happy to discuss with you and answer any questions you have.
So again, I'm being asked to speak to him personally about a question that I think we're all involved with for the lack of understanding of that particular point. And so I want to thank you for letting me sit here and ask something that I think is lacking in Hawaii. I've worked for the Department of Education 35 years. We started the Hawaiian immersion program because we thought that the language had something to do with being with English. Okay. Now I'm using a language that I'm very, very poor at. I'm married to a woman who does that very well. Watching Jeopardy is the hardest thing for me, but it's not for her. She went to Punahou, I went to St. Louis. I'm a 58 grad. She's a 74 grad. Again, I'm being redundant about expressing a condition that all of us share that has to do with a language that we have that we can only use. That's English. Okay, and I think asking about English in relationship to the rule of law is never easy for a judge or Richardson Law School or the medical school that was brought to Hawaii to help
our kids from not leaving Hawaii to go to school in the mainland to acquire an understanding of the rule of law. Okay, so again, I'll stop here. And thank you very much for allowing me to sit here. My friend brought me here. And I want to thank all of you for the wonderful job you're doing. Okay. But we're not a step away from 1778 and 2024. We're in the same place. Okay, mahalo, thank you. I don't think I need to talk to you about that after the meeting, because I got a lot of lawyers and friends who can help me with that. But I wanted to know if this can happen here now with me asking him. And the answer is no. He'll talk to me after the meeting. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else here? Come. Ron.
Can you hear my voice? Do I get a turn?
We're doing the people live right now, Barbara, and then we're gonna go
Okay.
to the Zoom. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Barbara. Yeah.
Is that Francis sitting down?
Yes.
Oh, Francis, how wonderful to see you.
Good morning, Ms. Storni,
Good morning.
to the
I wish I
commission.
was there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate my time to share with all of you. Thank you for the work you folks do. Thank Akua, because without you folks, I wouldn't be better today. I served time, 320s in the old block. And I learned. Wasn't for you folks, judges putting me incarcerated for my behavior, I wouldn't be better today. I know the choice today that I had. Through the correctional system, I've been given an education that I wouldn't learn in society. So anyway, I'm here to testify. It works. The correctional system in Hawaii works. For some of us Hawaiians, we hard-headed. I am a hard-headed Hawaiian. I born on the Big Island, went to Oahu for school with Kaimiki at sophomore year Iolani. Still never learned. I never go Kamehameha, but I'm here to share. You guys do know. Good job. Excellent job. Thank you. Especially you, Mr. Harrison, and your family. I know I've been to many churches, but I learned through example. To all the kupunas that helped me, and I'm here to say, mankind works with the help of God. Only one person, only one power. I learned that through the system. And all the judges, I appreciate you folks' help. Believe me. And I'm here, and I'm grateful. I wish more, you know. And the only reason I'm here is that I want to continue doing the work in helping the correctional system. I ran a whole Puhonua, Mokuaina, Mokuhali, one in Waianae, and one here on the Big Island. And I helped a lot of brothers and sisters. And it's my responsibility today. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Thank you. Just want to shout out. When I saw Uncle this morning, I was starting to have flashbacks. His parents was important in my upbringing as a young boy, and friends of my grandparents. And over 30 years ago, I was once the president of Kauai Church. And at that time, we had an AA program. Our facility was used by the community for community service as well as for AA. And it was one of the largest groups in the state. Over 100 individuals would come, and Uncle was in charge of all of that. And that's how I remember him when he's Malani. Like, Malani, he shook hands, because Malani and Patterson's almost parallel with each other. But thank you, brother, for being here and having those memories. And that programming has been happening for a long time. And there has been good things out there. But we're at a point now where we can build upon that foundation and be better at what we're doing for the new generation that are coming through. If there's nobody else, I'm gonna jump on here. Yeah, one more. Come. Come.
I gotta go.
Tell him that. Mahalo. Ko ilo, ki mo ke li, o lani kalani ka ai, aina, iana kalani, a me kawawa nui o mahi, a me tamanui tāne o taiti noi. That is my mo kuau hao, my name. I have a lot of friends and family that was incarcerated. My family went through a lot of hard times when our family was incarcerated because they broke the law. They didn't understand. They were kolohe. Like Uncle said over there, mahalo to all of you guys' work that you have put together and share with the public today. It is not a secret anymore. And this is the reason why I'm here. Today, I'm an advocate for a good friend of mine, and I found out that we're related as a family. And I just was honored and asked to help this individual and so that he can come back to his family after he was incarcerated for 23 years. And he was a service person in the United States Army. And today, I'm a Purple Heart winner out of Vietnam. And we both served this service to God and country in Vietnam. I'm a full combat infantry and a platoon sergeant in Vietnam. And I was also a drill sergeant in Fort Ord, California, and Fort Polk, Louisiana. They created some of these names on the wall that are up here today. There's a lot of the people that I trained in Fort Ord, California, and Fort Polk, Louisiana. And then most of those people that I've trained were sent to Vietnam. At first, it was just a conflict, then it turned into a very terrible war. We call it a war. People say it's just a conflict. But the amount of people that died, I still represent them as a commander for the Purple Heart chapter here in Hilo. But I was asked to help one of the members that was once served in the military. And I knew him very well. And I knew he was in trouble when he got incarcerated because of the crime. Today, I'm his counselor, and I'm almost his father. We share a lot of things like in Hawaii. But my problem is that when I got home, there was a lot of issues concerning arrest and incarceration for people here in Hawaii. I almost had to go back in time and become initiated to find out who I am as a Hawaiian. So I had to come to this island to find out my identity and my land and my position today as a high chief of Pukuala. And I'm also a high chief of the Warlord of Kamehameha. I've been working with a lot of different issues and protests on some of the problems here we have in Hawaii concerning the overthrow. But besides all of that, I'm one of the people that came to this island and have created an old Asian idea of Lonoika Makahiki Festival. And I was surprised to see it on this bill. Major bills are filed at the Capitol. Little article over here, Makahiki Day, but it's not a state festival. Because the Hawaiian protocol is already set from my ancestors with the Kumulipo, the Holy Bible of the Hawaiians. This is the reason why people like Hawaiians are getting incarcerated and they get to sent to away from the Hawaiian Islands into Texas or in Arizona and other prisons. Like my brother went to Folsom prison. And before I went to Vietnam, I had a request and with my mom and my sister to notify the President of the United States to have my son, my brother, to be released from prison in exchange of my service to Vietnam to release my brother from Folsom prison. And that president was Richard Nixon. And everybody knows the story of Richard Nixon, President of the United States. All presidents of the United States have to release prisoners that are safe enough to go back into their family and to their society. So the work that these people are doing today is to create a better environment and health and safety and medical and education in the system that some of these men and women never had a chance to get the diploma they needed, like myself. Because I didn't get in trouble because of my family telling me and my teachers and pastors and bishops of the church to be a good person. But the anger and hatred was in me because of all the rumors and false stories that I was hearing. Got me even worse to understand the problem that we are facing today with our children, especially with guns, clubs, knives, and committing crimes. And abusive today. In the old days, it was to correct and pull the ear, do something, which today is considered abusive. And most of that was done also in the educational system too. Punishment at a young age, from kindergarten all the way to high school as a Hawaiian. Because of the new government that came in after the death of our kings and queens of Hawaii. And of course, Great Britain was here in the Hawaiian Islands. We were known as British subjects prior to becoming a statehood and made us into today American citizens. So my proponents always say, Skimo, changes is a must. And this is the idea that we have today. And this is why I'm here to prepare my testimony, that the good work of these men and judges that are here, that once faced me because I did get in trouble with drugs, alcohol, and abusive mannerism that got me involved and short time in jail. But I was released because I'm a pure Hawaiian, and that church had to come out and get me out because most of the idea of a Hawaiian is we had what we call today Makahiki Day. That is the most important festival that is created here in the Hawaiian Islands, on all islands, not just a big island. We have a pu'uhonua here, known as Hale o Keawe in Kona. But that place today is not used as a pu'uhonua anymore. We have new buildings created, such as prisons that have the same program that is in this Makahiki Festival every year. It takes 3 months to get it set up because we do a lot of things besides war and getting in trouble, because this island has one of the worst battles, or 350 battles on this island during the ancient days. Today, they all came to who they are today as American citizens under the course of the government to protect us and keep us healthy and educate our people that are incarceration and get that same idea of education when they get out. And I'm working with a person today, and he is so glad to be freed again. He paid his time in Arizona for 23 years, and it's hard for him to come back and recover some of the things that he lost. But I told him, don't look in the back, look forward, Imua, go forward, as the Hawaiians say. Don't look behind, and create yourself into a better environment in your home. Love and everything, and going to church and things like this. I told him it's so important because you only got a limited time left, because you got issues of cancer and diabetes and many other issues that he got while he was incarcerated. Today, he's have to make sure he contact me so I can make sure he keeps his appointments at Triple Army Hospital and go into all of the programs that we set up in the Veterans Administration for people like him. And I'm just honored to be able to help anyone that has came out of prison, because my brother was incarcerated in many issues in his life, and he passed away, which was hard for me to talk about, but he's in a better place than me today, anyway. So that, I believe that the hardworking people that of you, I'm just a new kid on the block that come here and face my peers and people that had done things of men and women that are incarcerated and being put away from their family and their community. Today, it's hard for all of us because I have children and I made sure that don't get in trouble or be abusive, and go to church and pray for peace and not worry about
things like that, take care of yourself first. Today, I have to do that to myself, take care of my health. And take care of my wife, because she's got cancer. I'm a caretaker for my wife. And I have to still monitor my children, make sure they don't get in trouble with the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle.
I appreciate yours. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
That was good to have you to be here. Thank you so much. Marlon, for your service, for your words. It's always good to have Kunis at the meeting share with us on their insights. I'd like to call Barbara. Is that you?
Carolyn.
Carolyn, sorry. You know, I just had another birthday last month and I can't see the screen.
Oh.
So sorry, Caroline. Go ahead.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
I just wanted to say it would have felt so nice if Tommy had acknowledged the offers of everyone who was in attendance there in person to help with rehabilitation. I heard such a generous offer put right out there. And I suppose the commission can acknowledge it, but it would have been powerful if Tommy had said something.
Which event was this, Carol?
I didn't get the person's name, but it was before the person named Edmund spoke. He offered assistance with rehabilitation and sounded like he was a long time in the working in that area. And if I don't know if Tommy was even listening, but it surely would have been appropriate and, you know, to acknowledge that the offer was made.
You're right, Caroline. I understand that. Thank you for verbalizing that out for everyone to hear. Thank you.
The other thing is that he didn't address the issue of water, bottled water for the people who have to buy it from the commissary. So I hope it comes out in a report.
Yeah, that's,
thank you.
We took those notes, Caroline. We're gonna follow up on those things as well. So it's not this, it's
Great.
gonna said and it's gonna be dropped, but we will follow up on that issue of water.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's it.
And I just wanted to be a shout out, Caroline, that you're one of the originals from 2019. You have been with us on every meeting. And, you know, to see you advocate for us at the legislature and a live person, I was so excited to see you live and all the testimonies that you were giving on behalf of the commission and oversight coordinator. Thank you so much for your faithfulness and your commitment and your advocacy for reform here in Hawaii. Thank you so much. Yeah.
We're so lucky you folks are hard workers. Yep.
Thank you. Anyone else online have something you want to say? Go ahead, Kat.
I just wanted to bring up a bill that passed the legislature that's very disturbing. And it's SB 2347. And it's for if a person has 3 misdemeanors within 5 years, they can be deemed a felon. And this bill was pushed through the legislature with absolutely no research, no data, no analysis, and they just pushed it through. And the community we're the only testifiers who actually provided research to show that this kind of sentencing is not helpful and it doesn't actually do anything. What we think is really important is a lot of people who get into trouble on the street are people who have many unresolved issues from when they were kids. So we have many people walking around with mental illness. And this bill was pushed because somebody got pushed by somebody. But nobody really knows what happened, what the story was. But all we heard was somebody got hurt by somebody and we need to just make them felons and put them away for a long time. And I'm saying we have lots of people with mental health issues. And until we deal with that, we are never, ever gonna solve this.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
We'll follow up on that. Yeah, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And really, it was really a hard decision to say that we're only going to focus on the budget this legislative session. Because honestly, if we were never funded, it doesn't matter what bills we support.
Yeah.
We were to be around. And so that's why we were really quiet in terms of all the other support that Christian had done last year for all the bills that were brought to our attention. This year, we just focused solely on the budget, and we're glad we're successful. I guarantee you we're going to be out there next legislative session looking at all the individual bills and doing what we do. So thank you, Kat, for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you. I appreciate the work of the commission and also put you on notice that the solitary bill is going to be introduced next year. And we need your help.
Okay. We'll do, Kat.
Aloha.
Anybody else online?
Hi, I would like to speak if I can.
Go ahead, Charlene.
Hi, I'm Charlene Kahumoko. My brother Van Kahumoko was incarcerated. Chemo said 23 years, but it was 24 years. And so, number one, I'm very blessed and proud that my brother is out of prison. He came out through health issues. And I just want to recognize that I was at a commission's meeting a year ago in Maui, where Christina was there, and she heard what I said, because he did a compassionate release letter the year before, brought it before, but was denied to really be released. But she took the letter when I brought it to Maui, and she took it before the commissioners meeting, and I believe that she did a lot in helping in Van coming out. Not only me, but all the people that represented. Ron Fujoshi has been in the forefront when my brother never forsaken him and was there. I believe my brother served his time. He's 73, 74. He just made 74. And I'm not excusing what he did. He was wrong, but he's at an age where he has health issues. Everything is going wrong. By him coming out, and he was released back in September, I thank for all the people that was involved, that got him to where he is. He's been trying to come online, but because he's dinosaur, he still doesn't know how to use the system. I'm in Kailua Kona. He's in Honolulu, and I've been trying to get it. He listened to majority what's been said, but my house phone died, so he's not on right now. But he wanted me to share that he appreciates everyone that's involved, especially Hope Kelly, that has come to the forefront from him from the beginning. Kalihau, John, I forget everybody that's involved, but there's many, many people involved, and I just want to thank for everyone for him being out. He's still going through the process and trying to learn what's out here. But, when I listen to the part of the situation of prisoners, there are some prisoners that needs to be released, and it's finding where they're going to go. And this is my stand that those who don't belong there and have no family to bring them out, we should consider what's the next step. And I understand your guys' position, but people that outside, like Hope Kelly is trying to make the road where we come together in unity. And they're just one of many that wants, to work with the people that don't belong in prison, that's already did their time, and those that is in prison, to find a better way of helping them. And I'm really for, somebody has shared about working on the land and having the families come out to to work together in unity. I think there's a lot of healing process. Land and ocean, go back to the basic where we came from, and I really believe that this is really important for all of us to hear. And there's no side, we're all on one side, and this is, for me, God's side. You know what I mean? Look for the answers, not for the circumstances we're going through, but look for solutions that what we can do for each other. My brother, I love him so much, but being in prison was not for him because he started to give up on himself. His health issues was real. He almost died several times in prison. COVID, he had more than 3 times. And that's where he stands, besides cancer and diabetes, high blood pressure, all that. And I'm just saying that he wants to help others that's in prison that don't belong there. And I'm by his side. Whatever we can do in unity, that's my goal. And, I give all God praise and glory of what's happening, because there's 2 sides of every story. And we have to consider those prisoners who don't belong there. How can we help them in coming out? And, I'm computer illiterate. This is all new for me to be on Zoom, but I'm trying my best to communicate the best I can, And like I said, I'm there by you guys' side. Whatever we need to work together, I'm for it, as long as we do everything together for the righteousness of God. Anyway, I just wanted to share that from my heart. That thank you for all you guys that's involved. That's how, and I especially thank Christina that took it to heart last year and carried out her point of view on what was happening, my brother. And she's just one that was in the forefront. There's many more was connected to my brother's release. And I just want to thank everyone. And Hope Kelly, Ron Fujoshi, my heart goes out to you that never gave up on my brother. And I thank you. Kali Howe that's been trying to be in the forefront, and Albert and John and Chemo. I met him just a couple months ago with gathering with Van. I thank you guys all for helping my brother to see life and not death. Again, I thank you very much for giving me this time to speak. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Charlene. Thank you so much. Aloha kua, to you and your brother and all.
Thank you.
In this journey right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think it's about 11:05 right now, and I'm gonna ask that we adjourn the meeting. And I appreciate everybody here physically and online. And
Mark?
before we go, we'll have Mike say one more thing.
I'm sorry. I want to emphasize, I sent to you and to Kara, and I cited it wrong initially. The Office of the Governor put out Executive Order 24-01. If that could kindly go on our website. It's making Hawaii a trauma-informed state. And I think if you read the many, many whereases and the therefores, he charges every single one of us in government service, starting with the directors, to do something about this trauma-informed situation. He established an Office of Readiness and Wellness and Healing. Everything today, and that's why Tommy has embraced this, I hope, corrections and rehabilitation. So please read it over carefully, process it, give us feedback. I can't imagine, I've been in government how many years, something that transformative and obvious and redemptive. So I just recommend that, Mark, if that's okay with you and Kara and the commission. That's it.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. We'll get that done. If no further questions from the commissioners, I'll call this meeting adjourned at this time. So our next meeting will be, sorry, you guys, I got lost in all the emotion right now. This is May.
Thursday, May 16th, yeah, it's next week.
Oh, this is a makeup meeting from last month, everybody. So next week, May 16th, we'll be on Maui. And visiting the MCCC, but we'll have our live broadcast from Maui next week, Thursday. So thank you, everyone. You guys all have a good day. Mahalo.
She's not gonna be ready for next week.